In this tutorial, I will cover how to create your first Python program. The way we create Python program is by creating a file, give it a name, and give it a .py extension. So just open up a notepad, and when you save it, click Save As or Save, convert your text file to all files, and then give the file name a .py extension. So this is my example.py file. Previously, I mentioned that you can run Python programs either in an REPL editor, or so if you just write Python on a command shell, it starts an interpreter, and then you can just do anything you want there, like sum equal to 1 plus 2, create a variable sum, and give it some values, and you can do print sum. I will get a value 3. So this works fine to do if you want to do some quick experiments. But if you want to create files and share them create them as part of bigger projects, then you will have to create programs in separate files. So this tutorial will cover how to create your basic Python program. So if you want to follow this tutorial, go to or search for Python for Beginners Microsoft Learn on say Bing search, and you should land on this course, which is Python for Beginners. Now I am covering this module here, write your first Python program. So let's see how we do it. When we work with output, so just like I did these two statements here, I could actually write those statements in a file. So sum equal to 1 plus 2, and I can do print sum. And if I save this, and if I now exit the interpreter, and wherever this file is, like this file is in this directory, if I do python example.py, I should see the value 3. So essentially, all the statements which are in the file, they are executed by the interpreter. And once you have all the statements, to run the program, simply do Python or execute Python and file name, and it should work. The rest of the tutorial talks about the print statements, and it covers variables, how you declare variables. Like in this one, sum is equal to 1 plus 2. So sum is a variable whose value is 3. When you see something like a hash and followed by something, that's called a comment, and the interpreter does not execute that statement. For example, if I do print sum again, and then I try to print sum, I have to first convert it into an str, because sum is an integer and print takes strings. If I now do this and save it, if I run the program again, I will see sum again 3. It's sum again print. But if I don't want to execute it, I just add a hash which makes it a comment. That is, the interpreter will not execute it. Save it, and if I run it again, you will see that it wasn't run. Then the tutorial talks about the different data types, which are, say, numeric, integers, floats, strings, true and false values, which are called Boolean. And then there are some examples of these different types. So like planet in solar system, its value is 8, so it's an integer. Then distance to Alpha Centauri is 4.37, so it's a decimal point, so it's a float. And then you have other variables. If you want to check a type of a variable, you can just use a type function. So for example, if I have these, if I just copy them here, and I want to check whether what their type is, and use a type function and say planets in solar system. And if I print it as well and save it, if I now run it, I will see that the type of this variable, planets in solar system, is integer. Then the tutorial talks about the different operators or operations you can do on variables. So they could be arithmetic operators like plus, minus, divide, or multiplication. And you assign values to a variable using equal to sign. And the plus, equal to, minus, equal to are short forms of writing something like x. Instead of saying x equal to x plus 2, you can say x plus equal to 2. So if I just show you how it works, if I do sum is equal to sum plus 2, and if I do sum plus equal to 2, then this statement is same as sum equal to sum plus 2. Notice how I used a comment here, so this part will not be executed now. So if I now just do print of this, print sum plus 2 value, say if I want to show what this is, plus str, because I want to convert integer to string, and I will see this, and if I copy it and if I say sum plus equal to 2, then again sum, so this should give me, the sum was 3 here, so sum should become 5 here, and sum now should become 7 here. Let's see. Yep, so you see 5 and 7. So they are same way of writing there are different ways of writing the same thing. Then there are, in addition to arithmetic types, there is a date type. So if you want to use dates in your program, and they could be, for example, if you want to put a date, if you want to give a file name which has today's date and time, then you can use date function. Now you must have noticed that print or type or str, they are available to a program by default, but many other functions are not available to a program by default. We have to specifically include them in our program, like the date function, which is available in the date time module. It is not available by default. So if I want to use date, I will first have to include that into my program. To include it into a program, you write from the module name, which is date time, and what you want. So import date. So I want date to be included in my program, and date is available in date time module. Now if I want to print today's date, I can do print today is, and again, because the type of date is not string, its type is date, I have to first convert it into into string. So I will just do date dot today, which gives today's date. If I print it now, I missed something somewhere. I think I've missed one more code. So because, yeah, save it, run it, and this is today. So just to show you that date is not of type string, again, create a variable called date, dt is equal to date dot today. So, and if you want to see what type of date, what is the type of date dt variable, just to type date and then print it. And then you will see its type coming up as date time date. So you would have also noticed that I have to do an str conversion like I did here only if I'm combining strings, like I'm combining this string with the output of date. If I'm not combining it with a string, I don't have to call the str function like I did here. So then it talks about conversions, like something which I just told you about, that if you want to print date type, you have to convert it into a string first. So that's that module. Then once you have done this, you can straight away go to the exercise. And the good thing about this tutorial is that it provides a sandbox environment in the tutorial itself. So what you then do is to use the sandbox variable. You will see some empty cells like this, and you see some statements. So you just run those statements and then click on the play sign. It's going to run those statements. So let's see how it does it. It says add the code to display today's date. I know the code for that is I first need the date function. So from date time import date. And then I want to print say date dot today. Okay, if I now click on this, just wait for it to start. And if you don't know what the answer is, the tutorial also has the answer, so you can just look at the answer. So once you have clicked on plus, the sandbox runs it and gives you the output, and then you can start doing other exercises. Like this exercise, it's about converting a unit in parsecs into light years, and it has given example here that one parsec is 3.26 light years. So if you want to convert 11 parsecs, what you do is basically multiply 11 by 3.26. So you can write that code here, that say parsecs is equal to 11, and then light year will be parsecs times 3.26, and then if you want, when it wants the output in this format, 11 parsecs is these many light years. So to do that, you basically do print double quotes 11 parsecs is, and then I will do plus, because this value now comes not from the string but from the value of light year. So I will say str light year, and then I will then add the rest of the string, which is light years. So what's happening here is 11 parsecs is the string I want exactly. So I've done this. The value in this space will come from the value of light year. So I came out of the double quotes, did a plus so that the strings get combined, converted light year into string. And after the value has been displayed here, I want another string which is light years. So I start a new string with a plus sign and then add light years. So if I now run this, I get the answer 11 parsecs is these many light years. So that's how you can do exercises in the program or in the tutorial. Then the next talks about command line input. So we could provide arguments, or let's say values, to a program in two ways. We can ask a user to provide the value using the input function, or we could provide values when when we execute the program as part of the program arguments. So just to show you how it works, let me just delete all this and say I want to provide some values to the program, and the program is run. So I can do something like so when you pass the arguments to a program, those are collected in sysargv variable. So first I will need sysargv. So for that, argv is available in sys module. So I first do an import sys, and then if I want to print which arguments were sent to this program, I just do sys.argv. What it does is when the program is run, then whatever arguments are passed to the program, they become available inside the program. Like now, if I want to run this program, Python example py, then I'm running Python, and the first argument I'm passing to Python is example.py. So I should see example.py as a variable available in the program now. If I also say something like Python example.py and Manu, then these two are available now inside the program. So I could now access individual variables passed to this argument by using the index of the arguments. So these are passed as arrays. So what we do is print. So if I want the first program argument, I will say sys.argv, because I want the first argument. I say argv square bracket, then the argument number. Now in computers, the first number is 0, not 1. So to want to access the first one, I will have to use 0 as the index. So this should show the name of the name of the file, because that's the first argument. If I do sys.argv1, this should show Manu. So if I now print, so I see 3 prints now, all the arguments together, then the first argument which comes from here, and the second argument which comes from here. And now because the argument is available, I can do something like print hello, then plus argv1. So that means is I can now use that variable inside the program. So how did I make wrong? I have to do sys dot. Okay, and see, now I can use this variable which is passed inside the program, passed to the program inside the program. Then that's one way. The other way could be using the input function. So to use input function, I can again do something like variable name is equal to input, and then what is your name, say. And what happens is input waits for the user to enter something before it proceeds with the next statement. So print, if I do name now, hello, and if I do hello again, and if I do a name now, so what I'm doing here is, so these three will bring the arguments. But if I don't want to pass the value as when starting as an argument to the program, but if I want user to add it when the program runs, then I will use input. So if I now run this, so first you will see these lines getting printed because of the code here, and now because I've put an input here, the program is now waiting for me to enter a value. So if I say it's Jack, and now it says hello again Jack, so the whatever I enter here gets available for me in the program to be gets available in the program in the variable name, and then I can use it for in the rest of the program. Then I can enter string values. I can also, so whatever you enter is always available as string. So what you need to do is, if you want to convert it into an integer, then you have to use the int function. So this is a good example. Again, if I just remove the previous prints, I don't need sys anymore. Say if I want that, let's say I'm making a very basic calculator program. If I say first number is, get the first number from the user, let's say enter first number, and then it's going to wait for the first number to be entered, and fn, it will be stored in fn variable. Then I say second number is equal to input second number, enter second number, then the second number goes here. Now if I do print fn plus sn, you expect the values to be addition of the two numbers, but you will find it's not the case. Let's see how it goes. So first number is 3, second number is 2, the answer is 32. Well, that's strange. Well, that's not strange, because what happens is when we enter a value in input, those values are stored as strings, not as integers. So to check that, if you just do print type fn, and then I do print type sn, you will see that, and save them, you will see that their types are strings. And when we do a plus sign, basically we are combining two strings and not doing mathematical operation. So if you want to convert them into integers, the way you could do that is you could either use an int function. So I can wrap each string around an int function and run it. So I could do say 4, 5. The answer should be 9 now because I converted them into integer, or I can store them in other variables. So fn first number int is equal to int fn, second number I is equal to int sn, and I can now just use them without having to do the conversion. So I can do I and sn underscore I, and now it should show me 11. No, it didn't. Let me go. The addition of the plus sign here. There should be a underscore. The variable name is underscore. So now there's 7, 8. I should see 15. So I'm now so you either convert it into int and then use in the print, or you store the int values in other variables and use it there. So that's your taking input from the users, and then like previously, you can run exercise in a sandbox like it's done here, and then there's a knowledge check. So this tutorial covered writing some very basic Python programs outside the interpreter environment and into in a separate Python file. Thanks for watching.